Okay, you've been there, right? You spend forever crafting this perfect, super detailed prompt for an AI image generator, and what you get back has text that's just completely warped and unreadable? Well, you're not alone. But OpenAI just dropped something that is a total game changer. Let's get into it.
I mean, we've all seen it. You get this beautiful image, but the words look like absolute nonsense. It's been one of the biggest frustrations with these tools, right? It turns this amazing creative partner into a machine that just spits out, nonsensical squiggles.
For what feels like forever, this has been the Achilles heel of AI image generation. Getting actual, coherent, spelled correctly text was pretty much impossible. You can nail the vibe, the colors, the composition, but the words, always a hot mess.
And yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's that feeling when you see an otherwise perfect image, but it's ruined because the sign says happy birthday instead of happy birthday. But that whole era, well, it might finally be over.
So say hello to GPT-Image-2. This is the new engine powering the ChatGPT image experience. And let me be super clear, this is not just some small update. We're talking a complete rebuild from the ground up based on a totally different way of thinking.
So how in the world did they solve the text problem? Well, OpenAI used this phrase that really stuck with me. They said, images are a language, not decoration. And once you really get that, everything about this new model just clicks.
Think of it like this. The old models, the diffusion models, they worked like digital painters. They'd start with a canvas of just random noise and kind of slowly unblur it into a picture. GPT-Image-2, though, it works more like a writer. It treats making an image as a structured, logical task. It's literally writing with pixels, the same way a language model puts together a sentence.
And that's the key right there. It's a standalone system, not just something bolted onto GPT-4. It was built from scratch. And because it makes the image in a single go, instead of all these different rendering steps, the speed has just plummeted. We're talking from 8 to 12 seconds down to just 3 to 5 seconds. Faster and way better, that combo is pretty rare.
Now, this whole new approach leads to some massive, really practical improvements. I want to walk you through the 5 big upgrades that really move the needle and make this thing genuinely useful for, actual professional work. We're talking almost perfect text for real. The ability to write in languages that were impossible before. A default 2K resolution so things look crisp, with flexible aspect ratios so you're not stuck with awkward crops. Plus, you can make up to 8 images at once and keep your characters looking consistent. And then there's this wild new feature they call thinking mode.
Okay, let's just focus on the headline feature first, the text. We've gone from total gibberish to almost 99% accuracy. And I'm not just talking about big, bold headlines. It nails the tiny little labels on charts, the text on menus, and it can even mimic handwriting like you wouldn't believe.
And this is a huge leap. The old models were basically English only. If you tried to make a sign in Japanese or a poster in Arabic, you just get nonsense. GPT-Image-2 renders these really complex non-Latin scripts perfectly. It's honestly the first truly global design tool of its kind.
All right, so that's what OpenAI is telling us. But is this all just really good marketing, or does it actually hold up when you put it under pressure? Let's take a look at the benchmarks.
When I first saw these numbers, I thought it had to be a typo. On LM Marino, which is basically a blind taste test for different AIs, GPT-Image-2 scored an ELO of 1512. The next closest model is 242 points behind it. Now, to put that in perspective, in AI benchmarking, a 50-point gap is considered huge. A 242-point gap it's just unheard of. And those crazy scores actually translate into incredible real-world abilities. I mean, you can generate entire multi-page infographics that look like a human made them in Canva. You can create full character sheets for game design with perfect consistency. You can even mock up clean, realistic user interfaces for mobile apps. It's wild.
Now let's talk about the real sleeper feature here, thinking mode. When you turn this on, the model doesn't just start drawing. It actually plans. You can give it a document, like a pitch deck, and it will read it, pull out the main points, and then generate a visual summary. It's basically treating image creation like a little research project.
Okay, but it's not perfect, and it would be wrong to pretend it is. Understanding what this thing can't do is just as important as knowing what it can. So let's get into the limitations. So for one, if you try to make it create a super complex data dashboard with, say, 20 or more different elements, it's going to start dropping things or misaligning the text.
It also still kind of struggles with perfect mirror symmetry, like a reflection in water. And you've got to remember, its knowledge cutoff is December 2025, so for anything more recent, it might just make stuff up unless you use Thinking Mode's web search.
Now, because the images are so realistic, OpenAI has also built in some pretty heavy safeguards. Every single image has an invisible watermark and something called C2PA metadata. Think of it like a digital fingerprint to prove it was made by AI. And there are hard rules. You absolutely cannot generate images of real public figures or copyrighted characters. That's just the trade-off for having technology this powerful.
So when you put all of this together, who is this tool really for? And maybe more importantly, what does this tell us about where creative work is actually headed?
Well, if you're a marketer, this thing is a massive time saver for making social media assets or campaign visuals in different languages. For educators, you can now spin up diagrams and visual aids for a global classroom in no time. And for designers, look, it's not here to replace you. It's here to replace your most boring tasks. Those initial mock-ups, the first drafts, those can now be done in seconds, especially as this gets built into the tools you already use, like Figma and Canva.
And if you look down the road, it gets even more exciting. We're probably going to see true 4K resolution soon, then real-time generation in under a second, and eventually a move into 3D and even video. Trust me, this is just the beginning.
So look, GPT-Image-2 isn't just a slightly better version of what we had before. It's a totally different kind of tool, one that can organize and present information like a human designer, not just paint pretty pictures. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question. When AI can handle the first draft, what new heights is human creativity going to be freed up to explore next?